Hi, everybody. It's Jill here with Illuminating Women, and I am bringing to you today another one of our fabulous speakers for our Illuminating Women 2020 conference. It's going to be virtual this time, and it is called Building Bridges for a Bolder and Braver Future, and believe me, we're going to need that. So today I want to introduce to you this amazing woman, and you know, it's just amazing how divine interference can happen. And I had met her when we were going to do our conference. I already had my speakers, and then all of a sudden I had to take this virtual, which offered opportunity for me to add more content, more value, more for you to shine bright, because we're going to need that. We're going to start into fall. We're still dealing with this pandemic. And this amazing woman her name's Dorice, and she has this incredible book I couldn't put down. It's called Moments of the Heart. And we're going to dive a little deeper in this, but she's going to be speaking on the 29th, Tuesday, the 29th September. She's going to be in the morning and at night, because we understand you have some busy lives. So you're going to get to see her twice. And after she gets done speaking, we're going to get an opportunity to have a breakout, a workshop, and opportunity to dive deeper, and so that we can make some of those changes. So without further ado, I want you to meet this amazing woman. So Dorice, welcome, and thank you for saying yes to come speak to us.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Jill. I'm just so excited to be with you, to inspire people, to give us, all of us, tools to how our next year going to be for us, for each and every one of us individually, right? When we think positively and we act positively, hopefully good results will happen, right? It takes courage. It takes putting one leg in front of the other, but I'm so happy to be with you. And I'm so happy that you responded to my email and now we're friends, right? This is, yes. So about me a little bit. My name is Dorice, and I have been in Jewish education, working in Jewish education for 30 years. I left this position of the previous position I had because I wanted the world to be my classroom. I wanted to influence not only those who come to my synagogue walls, but those who are right now through Zoom. It seems like God really directed me to do it. And so in July of 2018, I began doing this. And I've been speaking a lot. Why? Because there was some event that happened to my life, as you showed it in the book, Moments of the Heart, that was a sad moment. My sister was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. And she lives in Israel. I live in the United States. What should I do? I decided to post positive messages on Facebook every single Saturday night after my Sabbath. And that became this book. That became a roadmap to positivity, to healthy living. Through this book, I discovered that we have 4 relationships that everybody should have to live wholeheartedly. I was not aware of it from before. So in my book and in my talk, I will touch upon those 4 relationships that makes us be who we are, that elevates us to new places. And we can only start if we're alive, right? If we're alive. So how are we alive? Breathing. Breathing is the first thing that shows that we are alive. And I know that you love it in the book when I talked about breathing. Do you want me to talk about now?
Okay. Yes, because what I think what we had talked about is your theme for this conference is becoming unsinkable. And when the waves of life, and right now we have a lot of huge waves hitting us, how to not be sinkable. And one of the things I said to you is I love that you talked about breath, because if we see a wave coming, we'll take a deep breath, but then we need to learn when and how to exhale that breath so we can manage that wave.
So, so when I talk about becoming unsinkable, I envision yourself as a ship and you see the waves coming. Let's say you are on the very top floor, and we'll talk about it more in our talk on Tuesday. But the waves are coming. The waves are the events in your life. Okay? The ocean that you see is your life. And you is who you are, the ship. So how do you react to life's events? When the wave, the event is shallow, it's okay if you just don't breathe and it's shallow. It's not as big. But nowadays, with what's happening outside, we have to take real breath, because sometimes we're under the wave, we're under the water for quite some time. And so how do you then emerge out of that water feeling, okay, I can do this again and again if necessary, right? And again, it takes courage to do that. It's very easy to stay in bed, put a cover over your head, and to say, I'll wait for COVID, demonstration, fire, earthquake, hurricanes to be over with, and then I'll merge out. But you know, it doesn't work like that, right? Life, it's very interesting. You know, the word life in Hebrew is a plural word. In English, you say life is great, life is fantastic. But in Hebrew, you say life are great, life are fantastic. And you may ask yourself, why? Why is life in Hebrew is plural? Because, and this is my take, it is the sum of all the experiences that happen to us. Life is not linear. It's not only one thing. It's all these things that happen to us from the moment that we were born to the moment where God is going to take us back, right? That's life is. So when we breathe, it is a moment of understanding and realization that we are alive. Now, the word breath and the word soul are related. When we breathe, we actually put, so let me take it one step back. The word for soul is neshama, and the word for breath is neshima. One of them has 4 letters, one of them has 5 letters, right? Neshima, breath, has 5 letters. What is the extra letter? It's the tiniest letter in the Hebrew alphabet, which signifies God. And we say, when we put God into our soul, we can actually breathe. And I love that. Whenever we allow God in, we can sustain ourselves. So I invite you all right now, whoever's listening, to take a big deep breath and to say, you know, we are alive. We're here.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Life is amazing.
Oh my gosh. And that was one of the key things that I saw when I was reading this book, because I love the fact that when your sister was fighting cancer and you were 10,000 miles away, that you found covering your head because she had to shave her head, lost her hair, was some solidarity you did with her. And you talk in your book of the importance of adopting or of friendships, having friendships all around you. And this is one of the reasons with Illuminating Women, we build this community of women to do that with you. Do you care to just shine a little light on that?
Yes, first of all, I love relationships. Why? Because it's connection. It's connection with other people, right? Without going into the 4 different relationships, I'll just talk about the relationship from the Hebrew lens perspective again, right? The word to connect and the word a friend share the same Hebrew underlying letters, chaver and lechaber. What does that mean? When we connect with somebody, we become their friend. Now, how do you connect? By doing genuinely listening skills. And I talk about the Shema, the listening. Right? Sometimes people think that when you're a friend with somebody, you only just talk. It's nice to talk, but it's more important to listen. And listen in a way that you're not preparing what you're going to say next. So how do you connect with somebody? Being there for somebody else. Creating and fostering friendship. Now, I talk a lot in my book about the concept of courage, because sometimes you have to go through difficult times in relationship with other people. There is nobody in the world that doesn't have a difficulty at some point in relationship with somebody they care about. I've been married for 30 some years. How many years? Over 30 years. Over 30 years, right? I know. I have friends. I worked in a building. I was an education director. I had conflict with my rabbi. Can you imagine that? And I will share it in our talk about what I did with this rabbi. So today, if somebody calls him today, he says, Dorice is the sister I never had. I'm telling you, truth. So what do? You need to have courage. And the word courage is actually a very interesting word. Again, going back to roots, the word courage in Hebrew is ometz lev, the adoption of the heart. Right? What are you willing to adopt into your heart, not into someone else's heart, into your heart. So your life will be in a positive lens. What are you willing to do?
I love that, because that brings me to my next question to you, which is on page 64. You talk about adopting behaviors. I loved that, because that's a little more of a discipline and it takes some self-responsibility.
Yes, that goes really seamlessly into my work in positive intelligence. We have to adopt new behaviors. Why? Because there's always, every one of us have saboteurs in us, right? We may be controlling, we may be avoiding, over-avoiding, we may be over-pleasing. There's several things that we do that the root of it is okay, because it's who we are, and who you are is amazing. Okay? Who you are, according to Jewish tradition, you are a champion. Do you know that? You're a champion, because a person is Aleph, is one. And the word Aleph comes from the Hebrew word aluf, which means a champion. So the Judaism's take that every human being is a champion. As a matter of fact, the Talmud says that for your sake, the world was created. Think about that. If you wake up in the morning, every morning, and after you say your gratitude prayer, which is the first prayer we say, and then you say, for me, the world was created, knowing full well that every other person is going to wake up saying that. So it's not coming from a narcissistic point of view, right? But you say, for me, the world was created, and I know Jill says, for her, the world was created. The world was created for all of us. How can we make this world be the best that it can be? We are a champion, because it says it. We are an aluf, from the word aleph, from alpha, the first letter of the alphabet, right? How can we be? So going back to the positive intelligence work that I do now as a coach, is we need to intercept or weaken that which is negative, the negative fire in us. Mm-hmm. And we have to elevate and strengthen the positive, the good kind of fire, the fire that illuminates our way, right? And when we do that, we become unsinkable. When we do that, we become unsinkable. And so that's my work when I talk, and I do the workshops and the coaching for positive intelligence, which all of you will have the chance to come to a free webinar with me, and you can hear all about that. So,
I love it, which is going to take me to, because when I read page 72, I'm a person who writes in books and underlines.
I love you. You're going to be my spokesperson for my book.
Well, because I believe they're like textbooks. Every book is like a textbook, and you just so are on here. I love it when you say that when we measure our action and missteps, because we will make mistakes, we'll make missteps, and commit ourselves to a more vigorous path. And you did a comparison, because again, of your faith, of Moses and coming down the mountain with, and seeing that the people built this calf, and he was like, this is the second time, and he's like, he could have just thrown in the towel and said, that's it, I'm out of here. But he didn't. You said in here, he did not give up. And sometimes when we feel like we're sinking, we want to give up. Can you just share a little bit about that?
Well, that is interesting that you're asking me right now, because we're heading into the high holidays, into the time where each one of us is celebrating the birth of humanity, but also we're assessing how are we as human beings live within this world that God has created for us. And sometimes we fall, and sometimes we come short. It happens to all of us. The question is, do we have the tenacity, the fire within, to say, we're not going to give up? What is the true definition of courage? The courage is when you fail, you know that you're going to try it again, because the result at the end is where you want to go. So you do the 2 degrees shift. So Moses comes back down from the mountain, and he sees the golden calf, and he breaks the tablets, and then God said, and then he goes again. The difference is that the second time he doesn't write, God doesn't write the 10 commandments. He actually, the second set of 10 commandments are written by Moses himself. But then he comes back down, and when he comes back? Exactly during Yom Kippur, the day of judgment, the day that is coming up. So you mentioning this story right now is, as a matter of fact, right now, at this point, Moses is up on the mountain writing his second set of tablets, right now. He's coming back down on the 28th.
I love that. I love that because it brings me to page 87. I love what you talk about because sometimes we always want more. We want more. We want more. And you give a really beautiful story here that was from your mom. And your title of this chapter is called "What We Have Is Enough." And I love what you said is about that story is that it makes you think of a great black hole in which many of us can get sucked into. And what we have or what we receive, is it enough? And I love it because you're going into the Passover feast that you're doing, but this is a cleansing. And I think all of us can use that cleansing, right? And you say in here, it's getting rid of that which holds us down instead of appreciating of what we have and receive. And this is part of being grateful because we can sink. And so if we're going to talk about being unsinkable, it's getting rid of that which will hold us down, getting rid of those pillars that are held our feet down, right?
Get rid of the weight that is holding us down. It's the weight. Stuff is the weight that keeps us down. Now, it's okay to have some stuff. You live in a nice house, you have a nice car, but really, I want you to, for a second, to visit your older self. Imagine for just a minute, if you can close your eyes and imagine yourself 30 years from now, 40 years from now, God willing, you'll be in good health, right? At the age of 99 years old, or at the age of 120 like Moses. Okay, so let's give it 119, right? Right? When you go visit that older self, what would they tell you? Would they tell you that it was okay to accumulate all the stuff and have the burden? Or will they tell you, spend time with your family? Appreciate what you have. Be thankful for God's gift and your gift. Our Jewish tradition teaches us that when we wake up in the morning, the first thing we say is the word moda ani, which in Hebrew translates directly as thank I. Now, rabbis have asked for many years, they said, why would we not say I thank, like in English, like even in Hebrew, the subject and then the verb. I like ice cream, right? Why is it thank I, you, God, that you give me my breath back? Because the Jewish tradition teaches us that the first thing that we have to focus in the morning is not about the I, but it's about the thank. Right? You wake up every morning with the idea of being thankful. And you don't have, I say the Modani prayer when I'm actually in bed. I haven't yet gone out to the bathroom, right? I'm still in bed and I say, thank I you, God, a living and existing King, that you have given me my soul back. How merciful is your belief? That is the sentence that I say in Hebrew.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And your faith is such a beautiful faith. I also love, and again, this is on page 105. And there's a reason we've been given the Sabbath, and we forget about what Sabbath means as a day of rest. And one of the things that women will forget, and I'm really work hard on this, is that we're on an airplane, the flight attendant will say, put that oxygen mask on yourself first before you put it on anybody else. But you said in here that the Sabbath, is that how you say it? Sabbath in Hebrew comes from the root to cease, to stop, to pause from our everyday life and just appreciate it. Because we were just talking about gratitude and now having this day. And you also taught that it allows you aha moments. Oh. And if we're, and I love that in your book at the end of that, it is those aha moments that can also, again, keep you buoyant, keep you from being sinkable. Do you care to share just a few things on that real quick?
Oh my gosh, yes. I grew up very religious, and the Sabbath, the Shabbat, was a day that we didn't do. We just didn't do. We existed. Existing and viewing. We would go for a walk, smell the flowers, not pick the flowers, smell the flowers, enjoy God's gift to us. And I must tell you, even today, if I had to go, which I don't really, but when I have to do something that I'm not supposed to do on the Shabbat, it takes away from my feeling. I love to wake up on Shabbat morning and read a book. It's, to me, it's like a pleasure having my beautiful cup of coffee and just enjoy that. Now, why is it an aha moment? Because the word, the sound ah, let's take it one step back. I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to share it later on in the talk, but it's really kind of cool. Do you know how we say human in Hebrew? Adam. Adam. Adam is actually human. And so his name, Adam, is built of two syllables. Ah, from that aha, and dam. The ah is the first letter of the alphabet, and it signifies the spirit of God within a human being, within us. That's the ah. That's why it doesn't have a strong, solid ending. It's not a harsh sound. It's open-ended. Why? Because we are allowed to grow into our purpose, into our spirituality, into our religion, right? Some people don't want to hear religion. They prefer spirituality. Whatever that is, connection with the power outside of you. And then the other side is the dam, which means blood. And that's the physicality. That's the blood cells. That's the ligaments that we have in our body, right? So what is the connection? So when you take the word Adam, it's actually the sum of the spirit and the physicality. This is together. So Shabbat is the time that we should attend to the ah, not to the dam, not to the physicality of the world, right? But just to the spirit. And that's why it is an aha, right? So Oprah Winfrey may invented the phrase, I don't know, but I'm sure going to take it to Judaism.
I love it. Well, before we finish up here, your last final words in the book, and again, this was just phenomenal. And the chapter's called "You Can Create Light," and I could even there's so much on this, and you said that God teaches us, forms something out of nothing. But I have to read this little section right here that I just love. That is to take something that exists and create a new product in order to give it its purpose. As humans, I love this part. This is going to go in my refrigerator because it's just something I want to see every day. As humans, we can bring this divine light into our lives by our thoughts, by our actions, and by our demeanor. I underlined that and I wrote, yes, 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 because that is so powerful. And this is why I'm like, hey, friends, this is your gift. You're going to get from me, or go buy it for yourself, because then you're going to want to give it to other people, and because you're going to be writing in it like I did. So anyway, can you just give us a finalize up here, and just so we can finish this beautiful interview and just share a little bit about that?
Yeah, first of all, thank you. I believe that each and every one of us is a light in this world. And when one life extinguishes, then there is darkness, right? And we all have the capability to bring light. It says at the beginning in Genesis 1:1, it says, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth, and the world was dark, right? And then God says, let there be light, and there was light. The first creation that God did was bring light. Now, I talk in my book about the word create. How is it different from a God creation to how we create, right? God's creation is something we cannot do. But what we can do is we create light that, in a way, and it comes in our prayer book, in a way that is forming, right? God form, we create. What God did, we cannot do, but we can bring light. Now, how do we bring light? By the actions that we take, by the choices that we adopt, by the kindness that we show other people. Rabbi Heschel, he was a rabbi that was very close friend with MLK, and he said, when I was young, I admired clever people. Now that I'm old, I admire kind people. I say, every single time, I said, the more acts of kindness flow from you, the more will follow you. The more acts of kindness emanate from you, the more will want to emulate you. That's how we bring light. And the aspect of light is that when we bring a candle, that candle is not only showing me the way. In a room that is dark, one candle can shine the way to so many people around, right? Just like the person, how do you create a fire? If you're cold, one person can just take a coat and put it on themselves. The other person can create fire so other people will be warm. When we bring light into this world, we bring it not only for ourselves, but for the generations past and the people around us now. And that's what I hope that we will do, that we will bring light. And I believe that women are the source of light. I believe that women are those amazing creatures that can bring light in masses. And I'm looking forward to seeing all of you at Illuminating Women.
And again, I cannot say again, thank you enough for saying yes. And you just gave us a beautiful outline. And the thing is, all are welcome regardless of whatever faith or God or whatever you don't believe in, because we're all human. And that we start with that breath. That's well, we kind of started this conversation is with the breath. And that's why it's so beautifully done in your book. I just, and for this conference, this is going to be so important because I know you're going to give us some really doable tips and tools that we can put in our tool chest that's truly going to help us navigate these next waters, because we are going to go through, it's an election year here in the United States. It's going to be, just tough times. And I love the fact that you were even saying with the light, when we've had so many people pass away from the coronavirus, their light still shines, and we can shine that light for them so that we can still bring positive. And I loved your thinking part, and that workshop you're going to do, everything that you're doing to help people move from that darkness to see their divine purpose in this world and to move forward. I'm so excited and so thrilled. So if people want to reach you, what's the best way they can find you?
So visit my website, DoriceHorenstein.com, for more information. You also can sign up for my newsletter that goes about once a week. You are welcome to connect with me personally, DoriceHorenstein@gmail.com. I'll get that email. And look at the different offerings that I have and participate in them. So for example, the 6 weeks program that I'm going to start for positive intelligence, a life-changing. Absolutely. It's based on Shirzad Shamin's work, and I'm being trained with him for positive intelligence. It is absolutely amazing. You will get something that you have never seen before. Because you know what, Jill? So many times in our life, we have this 20% insight. You go to a lecture, you have the aha moment, and you think, oh my God, this is so great. But then it fizzles out after a week or 2 weeks or a month or 2 months. Well, this program says that while it's 20% insight, 80% is mental fitness. And what this 6 weeks program is mental fitness, is creating a new neurons in your brain that are connected. And Shirzad has a PhD in neuroscience, and he's been a coach for 30 years. I mean, wealth of information that he's willing to give to us in his, so he does. So I will share the videos and the audios from him, and then we'll do live coaching sessions. Honestly, priceless.
That is, what a gift, because again, we must do the work on ourselves. We can't sit in our armchairs and with a remote control and hope and that'll happen. So join us at the conference, meet Dorice. She's just a fabulous lady. Dorice, thank you so much for your interview with me today. Blessings, and I'm just so excited. So thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in, and we will see you at the conference. Bye-bye.
Thank you.